The 3rd of January 2024, you're very welcome back. This is Africa, French, they've run out the French. The last French soldiers left Africa 2 days ago, New Year's Day. After 200 and something years, I think they're there. I remember reading a book years ago, I don't know, got it out of the library or something, and it was a book by an executioner employed by France in Algeria. He was executing all the rebels. The rebels in Algeria, the Muslims, were objecting to the French, and his job was to execute them when they were sentenced by the military court. We all know about the French Foreign Legion. Oh, it was a great thing, it was great. They were just there to hold and keep down the people who lived there. In any event, maybe that's not forgotten. He described how he'd catch them by the head, and when the thing had come down, he'd have the head to dump in a bucket and all that gory stuff. But the point about it is that the French were getting their mahogany, they were getting oil, they were getting gold, they were getting yellow cake, uranium, and getting all that for a knockdown price. And they had their own puppet in there. They said he was democratically elected, but he was a puppet of France and a puppet of America. There was a threat there from ISIS fighters, extreme Muslims, radical Islamic terrorism, and the Americans had a base there as well. And I don't know whether they were run out or not. Maybe someone would comment underneath. They got rid of them anyway. No, sorry. The Americans may still be there, they may not, but the French themselves were hunted out and gone. Now, when the coup started, this coup took over, and it wasn't long till Victoria Nuland, the Secretary of State, arrived in on a plane, and she was given a cup of cocoa and told her to come off home. She was going to tell them what to do. They didn't listen. Ursula von der Leyen tried and tried to conquer Africa with her green stuff. Oh, the world's going to fry. You'll have to go along with us. Give us all your resources, and we'll give you a few bob out of the carbon levies we levy in Europe and in America and all of this crack. And none of it worked. None of it worked. It has all collapsed around them, and they're actually humped out of there. They're gone completely. And eventually, the neighbouring countries of Nigeria and those will acknowledge the new regimes, which are dictatorships. But there seems to be a big difference, folks. Now, you remember Idi Amin? He took over, and he was a big baluba fella and all this. I think the Russians and the Chinese are advising them. I think the Belt and Road Initiative has been extended into Africa. And I think that they are being told, these generals, maybe before they did the coup, you do it this way. This is how you do it. For these things, these coups were extraordinary effective. The one in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and in Niger were extraordinarily effective. And there seems to be a very cool confidence amongst all these new leaders. They look the part. And it would seem to me that there's somebody else telling them and advising them how to go about it. Don't do the Mugabe thing. Don't build palaces for yourself. Don't become corrupt. Run the thing fairly fair, and you'll have your own plenty out of it at the end of the day. You could be ruling the country with good consent, which is a lot better than by brute force. That could be what's happening. It won't be long till these countries are signed up to the BRICS. I'd say Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, all new coup d'etat countries, will be in the BRICS. You'll see Wagner Group under Russia looking after all the Islamic terrorists. And unlike the Americans, who will be inefficient and failed in Afghanistan and all that, this Wagner Group will just murder them out of the face. They'll leave the ISIS groups with nothing. Remember, Trump was doing that, but the American people didn't think it was a very good idea. Well, now it's being done by the Russians. I think that's what's happening there. I could be wrong, and I'll be the first to admit it. It looks to me like the hand of China and the hand of Russia is there, and China has now got its grip on the whole of Western Africa. It will have a first call on its resources. It will pay a reasonable price. It will advise on infrastructure, rail links, and all of that. And it will have, so will Russia. Russia will be selling its oil and gas there, ignoring the Americans and European sanctions. The Europeans were hoping to explore the gas in that area and pipe it up into Africa and under the sea down to Europe. There is apparently vast reserves of fossil fuels there. What will happen that now, I don't know. They may still sell it to Europe, but there'll be no deals in it. They'll pay the full price, and Europe will have no say, and Europe will not be able to tell them, you give us your gas. It's a sin to use it. It causes climate change. You must feel guilty. We'll have to impose a levy on you for selling your gas into Europe to put to the climate change fund. That's what Europe wanted. What's going to happen is they'll be told you'll take it or leave it. If you don't like it, we'll get somebody else to take it. Okay, does that make sense? That's a short video. I just want to update you on all of that. It looks like they'll pull away. There'll be no dollars used. They'll use the Chinese yen or some other currency, and sanctions won't apply. There are no sanctions applied. There are unofficial sanctions which prevent the export of manufactured products, including tea, coffee, and cocoa, into the European Union. I have made videos about them. So that's the story. They're losing it, in my opinion. And the whole thing to watch for is, will these three new regimes go Mugabe? Will they do the Mugabe and the Idi Amin, or will they be much cuter? There are reports that there were attempts on the lives of some of these leaders, and they all failed. And that, to me, has the hidden hand of Russia and China advising how to do it. They'll not be stuck for weapons. Russia can supply them with lots of weapons. So can China. Pay it back later on. And in the end of the day, it is very possible that the people of these countries will benefit greatly. And the day of we putting a penny in the box for the black babies will be over. I never understood it anyway, how people living in a rich country, a rich continent like Africa, should rely on pennies from me going into Mass on a Sunday for their babies. I never could understand that at all. Well, I think we've seen the end of it. We've seen the end of it, and we'll see how it goes. That's a short video. I think I did well to get it all covered. Hope I've left nothing out. Please comment underneath, and we'll see you back. Thank you.